Now, with controversy growing over plans for a pro-Palestine march in London on Remembrance Day next Saturday, a group of 15 KCs have written an open letter asking for the Met Police to use powers at their disposal to put controls on these protests.
The lawyers have written the letter under the banner of the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, and I'm delighted to say that one of those KCs who has signed the letter, Daniel Janner, joins us now. Hello, Daniel. We're seeing weekly protests on the streets now. What do you want the police to do?
Well, good morning, Esther. Good morning, Phil. We are calling on the police to enforce existing public order laws and to clamp down on unlawful conduct that we're seeing week in, week out. We now know what to expect from these marchers. Vast numbers descend into central London. Many are openly supporting Hamas, a terrorist organisation. We hear calls for jihad. We hear calls for the destruction of the state of Israel. What else does river to the sea chant mean? We've had arrests for violence. We hear threatening words and behaviour, and what we are saying as a group is enough is enough.
Daniel, I mean, people might say, well, you know, yes, in any large-scale protest there's going to be some behaviour that you wouldn't like to see, but that's an exception rather than the rule. And people might say, well, look, you know, it's Remembrance Day. People fought in 2 world wars to protect our freedoms, and one of those freedoms is the right to protest, and therefore people should be free to protest if that's what they want to do.
Well, Hamas, by way of contradistinction, does not allow such freedom of expression. And of course, it's only right that there should be freedom of expression. But there needs to be a balance. And this balance is tilting the wrong way now, because the Jewish community is living in increasing fear, as are others. So what we're saying is the police need to take a grip. They need to impose restrictions. They've got the powers to do so. They can impose restrictions limiting the numbers on these demonstrations. They can alter the route, particularly important, I would say, next weekend. And they can limit the duration of these marches. So they have a balancing exercise to carry out. What we're saying is the balance has become unbalanced.
Daniel, they're arguing, particularly the Metropolitan Commissioner, that they don't have these powers. He's saying there's loopholes, they can't do some of these things you're asking to do. Do you think they just need to be a bit bolder? Do you think they're ducking their responsibility, finding loopholes that aren't there?
I couldn't have expressed it better than you there, Esther. I mean, they do have the powers. They have the powers to impose restrictions under sections 12 and 14 of the Public Order Act 1986. They can carry out arrests under section 5 of the Public Order Act 1986. They can enforce the terrorism legislation. So they do have the powers. What we're saying is there's been a marked lack of enforcement of these widespread powers which they have.
Daniel Janner, KC, thank you so much indeed for joining us this morning and explaining your position on these protests. We appreciate it.